What is up, boys and girls? Londrick here, and now I'm back with another edition of Londrick's Fave 5, and this time it's going to be Fave 5 Smackdown matches. So we're on the road to Smackdown 1000. Last week I did a Smackdown related video, and this week I'm going to do a Smackdown related video. And you might notice at the end of the title, ... and quick King of Pro Wrestling 2018 predictions. So at the end of this video I'm going to rattle off some quick King of Pro Wrestling 2018 predictions. So first we're going to do Smackdown matches, then next week it's going to be Smackdown moments. So let's rattle off a couple of honourable mentions. One thing I just want to point out, I just want to make this point completely clear. So if anyone writes in the comment section why have you not included these matches, you better at least listen to the video first. I'm not going to include any Chris Benoit matches in here. I mean, I know just all things that happened and all that is just, you know, I don't have the same love for Chris Benoit matches. I mean, I can objectively look at them and say these matches are awesome, but the emotional investment is just completely gone for me. I mean, for me, as great as his wrestling career was, he's always going to be that guy that killed his family. And the sad thing is, a lot of the SmackDown's best ever matches had Chris Benoit in them. So that's why they're going to be missing on here. So there you go. So honourable mentions before we get started, I would say Undertaker vs Kurt Angle from September 2003, and another World Heavyweight title match from March 2006. Randy Orton vs Rey Mysterio from April 2006. CM Punk vs Jeff Hardy Steel Cage match, August 2009. But enough about honourable mentions. Let's get to the actual list. Coming in at number 5, and I bet this one shocked quite a few people. So just to make this one thing clear, when I do Fave 5 lists, these subjective lists, and when I actually do a top 15, top 20 list, whatever, it's objective. So when I'm actually doing a proper list, it's objectively what I think's a better match. But when I do a Fave 5, when I say a favourite, it's subjective. It could be a favourite for any reason. And number 5, August 8, 2002, Brock Lesnar versus Hollywood Hogan. I mean, obviously, as far as technical matches and all that, there's been much better matches in SmackDown history than this. But I love watching this match. This is one of my favourite matches, just to sit down and watch for 10 minutes. I mean, it's just the entertainment value for me is what I really like about this one. Like I say, obviously, there's a lot better actual matches in SmackDown history than this one. But this one just had such great entertainment and told a fantastic story. So, 2002, two major things about this. Obviously, 2002, the epic rise of Brock Lesnar. I mean, Lesnar debuted the night after WrestleMania 18 and got the rocket strapped to him, didn't he, really? I mean, it was obvious they wanted this guy to be a star, and they wanted to be a star straight away. I mean, he had the look, he had the ability, he had the wrestling ability, size, strength. Only thing he didn't really have was charisma, but then he had Paul Heyman to do the talking for him. And yeah, he just rose through the ranks, and at this time he was on the verge of becoming the undisputed champion. He had a date set of The Rock for SummerSlam. But there was one big thing that WWE did for him in the build-up, and that was this match here on SmackDown against the iconic Hulk Hogan, who also returned to the WWE in 2002. And I love Hogan's 2002 comeback run, and I make no apologies for it. I thought it was awesome for what it was. I mean, obviously you're not going to get loads of awesome wrestler matches out of Hogan in 2002, are you? But that's not what it was about. I mean, just amazing stuff. I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I don't want to do too long a video. But yeah, so obviously Brock Lesnar won the 2002 King of the Ring. That earned him a title shot at The Rock at SummerSlam. But he had this little conflict going with Hulk Hogan, and they built up to this match on SmackDown. And also what they did in the build-up, they did an awesome angle earlier in the show where Hogan used his intelligence and his experience to goad the rookie Brock Lesnar into putting his SummerSlam title shot on the line. So now this is even more intriguing. So the SummerSlam title shot was on the line. Could Lesnar just get through Hulk Hogan to get The Rock? Or could that old Hulkster slay the beast like he'd done many times in his career? And then we get Hogan Rock 2 at SummerSlam. So there was some genuine doubt going into this match, and storytelling absolutely incredible. I mean, like I said, not a great technical match or anything, but really, really entertaining, and just what an awesome story. And Hulk Hogan, you've got to give him, like, obviously Hogan earned a reputation, and rightfully so, for not putting guys over, especially in WCW, as there was quite a few instances where he should have put guys over and he didn't. I mean, in his first WWE run, you could argue Hogan was the golden goose, and he didn't really need to do many shots, but definitely in WCW. But when he came back in 2002, Hogan put quite a few guys over. I mean, he put The Rock over at WrestleMania. He lost the title to The Undertaker, although there was some shenanigans in that one. There was a match on Smackdown in June where he lost to Triple H clean. Tapped out to Kurt Angle at the King of the Ring. So it looked like Hogan was putting over a younger generation of talent. And then, obviously, that new generation, Brock Lesnar was a rising star. And he just did a thing where Brock Lesnar just destroyed Hulk Hogan and beat on him and beat on him and beat on him. And Hogan tried to make a comeback. But eventually, Brock Lesnar he busted him up at one point. And you've got to give Hogan, 49-year-old at the time, had a lot of injuries in his career. He was taking suplexes, he was taking F5s at that stage, but it revolved around a bear hug. So yeah, that classic move, the bear hug, which obviously hadn't been used for a long time. Lesnar cut the bear hug in, Hogan kept fighting and fighting, and eventually Hulk Hogan couldn't continue. Brock Lesnar had put Hulk Hogan out with a fucking bear hug. I thought that was awesome, to be fair, I really do. I mean, I really did like that. I mean, being off the top of my head, I can't think of a time since then that a bear hug actually ended a match. I mean, if anybody knows, can correct me in the comments section, but off the top of my head, I personally can't remember this being the case. Yeah, so, and it was just awesome. So, this is how you book a monster heel, WWE. You have him destroy an icon like Hulk Hogan, and then he went on to beat The Rock, and then he beat The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match later on, No Mercy. So yeah, just one of the most entertaining matches in SmackDown history. I mean, you've probably seen it before, but if you haven't, definitely check it out on the WWE Network. So, number 5, Lesnar versus Hogan. Coming in number 4, we're going to stick with 2002, but it's going to be May the 30th, 2002, Steel Cage match, Edge versus Kurt Angle. So, this is probably one of my favourite rivalries of that era. I mean, I really did enjoy this rivalry. So, the brand split happens March 2002. The roster goes into Raw and SmackDown. And one of the big theories behind this brand split is obviously with each roster being a little bit smaller. Not as many stars in each roster. It's a great chance to create some new stars and let some guys grow into main eventers. And obviously in the early brand split, I think Edge was definitely one of the benefiters of that. I mean, as far as SmackDown, he definitely elevated Edge in 2002. I mean, Edge obviously had a long tag team career. Edge and Christian did all 7-time World Tag Team Champions, TLC matches, all that great stuff. Then obviously they split up in 2001. Edge became the Intercontinental Champion. I believe he was a 4-time Intercontinental Champion during that time. I think because he obviously had one more reign in 2004. But at first Edge was doing fine, but obviously I think he needed that big feud to get to that next level. And they put him in a feud with Kurt Angle. I mean, 2002, I do feel Kurt Angle was the best wrestler in the world at that time. So it was an awesome thing. And obviously, Edge and Kurt have history as well. Because back in like 2000, 2001, Edge and Christian and Kurt Angle had something of an alliance going on. I think they used to sometimes call themselves Team Eck. It's obviously Edge, Christian, Kurt, Eck. Obviously, they had 6-man tags on a number of occasions. Edge and Christian would run in Kurt Angle's matches, things like that. So yeah, then obviously they had the King of the Ring 2001 final, and then they split off and just did their own thing. Actually, now I think about it, I think Edge beat Kurt Angle for the WCW US title in like October 2001 maybe. Yeah, it was right. It had to be because it had to be right before Survivor Series, didn't it? Yeah. But anyway, let's get back on topic. So they start a feud on SmackDown. Have a big match Backlash with Kurt Angle winning. But it was a great performance from Edge, and Edge really got over in that match. And then obviously, probably the most famous match he had in this time was the hair versus hair match at Judgment Day 2002. That was, of course, the one where Edge beat Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle got his head shaved, and he went bald. This is the look we've known him to have since then. And then they did, it's an awesome thing. I fucking loved it. It's totally like old school shit. So Kurt Angle went bald, but then he came out on SmackDown the next week with a wig. He had the amateur headgear on to keep the wig on, and claimed his head growing back with miracle growth and all that shit. It was awesome stuff. And then they had one big more match, and it was on SmackDown, and I believe it was in Calgary as well, which is always cool. So obviously they did a Raw and SmackDown taping in Canada. It was the same way Eddie and RVD had that awesome ladder match on Raw in Edmonton. So they had this big main event on SmackDown, Steel Cage, Edge versus Kurt Angle. And this was just a super intense match. I mean, it really was. I mean, like I say, at this point, this was definitely the best stuff Edge had ever done. And I do believe the matches with Kurt were still some of the best matches Edge has ever had. This really helped make Edge a star. Now, of course, obviously, this got delayed for a while because Edge got injured for a year in 2003. But I think in 2002 he's well on his way to becoming a star. But anyway, so yeah, back to the match. Awesome match. Loved the match. The finish was absolutely fantastic as well. And if this was the first time in Edge's career that he'd bladed and busted open, which, not a good lie, PG era, I don't miss blood as such. But I do think in such occasions like cage matches and Hell in a Cell, they should occasionally bring it back if the situation warrants it. So Edge is bleeding, he's on the top rope, so that move where the guy's on the top rope, Kurt Angle runs up the top rope and suplexes him off the ropes. So Kurt was going for that, he's running towards Edge. Edge dives off the top rope, hits a spear on Kurt Angle, gets a huge victory. I mean, what a fantastic match this was, it really was. One of my favourite 5 SmackDown matches. Coming in number 3, we're going to skip a few years now into this 2009 era SmackDown. And we've got a match for the Intercontinental Championship, Rey Mysterio versus John Morrison. That's right. So yeah, 2009, obviously the SmackDown had a great era in 02 and 03. But I think they had another awesome time in 2009, so it was just after the draft after WrestleMania 29. To about around this time probably, SmackDown had something of a, well, not a golden period as such, but pretty damn good period. So because of the draft, they now had a roster that looked like Edge, Chris Jericho, John Morrison, Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, a couple of others I can't remember right now, but those are the main 5 I can think of at the top of my head. Edge, Morrison, Jericho, Punk, Jeff Hardy for a while before he left Rey Mysterio. So awesome period. And then obviously Rey Mysterio was the guy who, for the most part, obviously he's much more associated with SmackDown than Raw. So started on SmackDown in 2002. He was on SmackDown until 2008, and he was drafted to Raw for a year. But Mysterio on Raw for me was just, wasn't terrible by any means at all. It's just, I don't know, I just didn't think the fit for me anyway. I don't think so anyway. It just, I don't know. Can't quite put my finger on it, but I think it could be just a case of Mysterio's much more suited to SmackDown than he is Raw. And he's 08 to early 09 run on Raw was just kind of, you know what I mean? But one spark came from that run. He won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 25. But then he was drafted back to SmackDown, and then a US champion MVP was drafted to Raw. So for the first time since 2003, the Intercontinental and the US belt switched brands. Then I think Rey Mysterio had an awesome 2009. I mean, that feud of Chris Jericho is one of the best SmackDown rivalries of all time. Then he actually had a really good rivalry with Dolph Ziggler early in Ziggler's career. And I think it was those matches with Mysterio that people started going, on Dolph Ziggler. But then something interesting happened. I think it was early September 2003, news broke that Rey Mysterio had been suspended for a wellness violation. Now, to this day, no one's entirely sure what the violation was, but he violated the wellness policy and had to drop the Intercontinental title right away. So a match was put together on Smackdown with Rey Mysterio and John Morrison. Now, Morrison's a guy that had been around for a while. He'd started out on Tough Enough, came back to the main roster in M&M, went into ECW with John Morrison, had an ECW title run, had a phenomenal team with The Miz, and then went to then they got drafted. Miz got drafted to Raw, and Morrison got drafted to SmackDown in 2009. Then Morrison turned babyface and had a pretty damn good run. I mean, it is kind of a shame Morrison never quite got to that next level. I mean, sometimes he would short, but it just never quite happened for him. Obviously on SmackDown, he'd had a few good matches. Two notable ones for me. I mean, I don't remember the exact date, but he had a really good match with Edge on SmackDown. I don't think Edge is the world champion anymore, so it must have been after Extreme Rules, but before the Bash. And then obviously, right after Night of Champions, had an awesome world title match with Jeff Hardy. Yeah, but this match was great. What I loved about this match, because obviously Rey Mysterio, awesome high flyer, but John Morrison's high flying skills were as impressive as Miz. Well, maybe not quite as much, but it was certainly a match for Mysterio in that regard. And this was a babyface versus babyface match, where Mysterio was the veteran, so Rey Mysterio is slightly more aggressive in this match than he usually is. And yeah, this is just a great athletic contest. I mean, like, sometimes I don't like high spot fests and all that, but I feel this one really worked. I mean, it really did. Just a really intense, high-flying style match. You definitely need to go out your way to see it. I mean, just an exciting match with Morrison beating Mysterio clean to win the Intercontinental title. So, yeah, definitely seek this one out if you haven't seen it. So, John Morrison versus Rey Mysterio from 2009. Now we're coming into top 2 territory. So, number 1 and number 2 are both classic matches, but number 2 is going to be Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle, Iron Man match for the WWE Championship, September 18th, 2003. So, yeah, this is it's a really bold move at the time, actually. So, this wasn't your 30-minute Iron Man matches, which seem more common in wrestling nowadays. This was the real Iron Man match, 60 minutes. This is only the third televised one in WWE history. Of course, as you probably know, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were the first ones to do it at WrestleMania 12, and then The Rock and Triple H did one in 2000, Judgment Day. But for the most part, yeah, we hadn't really seen them after that. So Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle had a long rivalry in 2003. Probably one of the great rivalries of that era for sure. I mean, this was just a wrestling rivalry. I mean, there wasn't any elaborate storylines for this one, no daft wild segments, just one great wrestler and another great wrestler competing to see who the best wrestler was. I mean, and obviously you got Brock Lesnar, you got Kurt Angle, you think of phenomenal athletes, you think of the amateur careers. I mean, both absolutely top-notch amateur wrestlers. Of course, Kurt Angle, NCAA champion, and famously went to win the Olympics in 1996 with a broken freaking neck. You might have heard about that. But of course, Brock Lesnar, of course, like Kurt Angle, an NCAA champion, but Lesnar got signed young to the WWE in 2000. And I think when Lesnar came, I think everyone was thinking, Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, I want to see that match. And WWE held it off until WrestleMania 19, where Lesnar beat Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship. Kurt Angle had that big neck injury and had to take time off, and didn't come back till I think late June, which set up the Vengeance pay-per-view, which was Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle versus The Big Show, where I was quite surprised at the time, actually. Kurt Angle won the WWE title right back, and that set up SummerSlam 2003. But in the meantime, Brock Lesnar returned back heel, which I think was a great move, because I think Lesnar's babyface run in 02 to 03 was fine. I mean, I don't think it was terrible or anything like that, but much better heel for sure. I mean, much better heel. I mean, most people preferred Brock Lesnar as a heel back then, as they do now. We turned back heel on Kurt Angle. They had the SummerSlam match, which Kurt Angle won clean by tap out. And no, I was going to say that's the last time Lesnar ever tapped out, but then I remembered Survivor Series, Chris Benoit tapped him out. So yeah, in that run, Brock Lesnar tapped out at least twice. At least once to Lesnar and at least once to Benoit. So then they had then it looked like Kurt Angle and The Undertaker had got into a mini rivalry. They had a match on Smackdown in September. I think it was September the 4th. Pretty sure it was. 2003. Which Brock Lesnar ruined, interfered, made that a no contest. And then this match was made 60-minute Iron Man match on free television for the WWE Championship. Now, this was the ultimate way to see who the better man was, wasn't it, really? I mean, just, yeah, I think so. So, bold move for sure. I mean, especially on free television, because if the fans get bored from that match, they're probably going to turn it off. We haven't seen many. I think the only other 60-minute Iron Man match after this, and correct me if I'm wrong, was John Cena versus Randy Orton at Bragging Rights 09. I mean, like I said, we've had 30-minute Iron matches since then, quite a few, but very few 60-minute ones. And probably the reason was not many guys can pull them off, but these guys did. I mean, obviously the TV version cuts out about 15 minutes of the match due to commercials and all that, but I think there's a DVD released a few years ago, Greatest Art of the 21st Century, which I have. Haven't watched it in a while, but I've definitely got it, and that's got the entire match unedited. So if you can seek out the unedited version of this match, I think that's the best version to watch. I can't remember if the WWE Network's the edited version or not. Probably is. Like, obviously, that Smackdown September 18th, 2003 episode. That's probably the edited version of this match. So, I think it told a great story. I mean, they did a great thing. Obviously, what looked like a strange move at first, Brock Lesnar would hit Kurt Angle with a steel chair to go 1-0 down. But it was all part of a plan. So the plot was for Lesnar to weaken Kurt Angle with that chair shot. Then I think Brock Lesnar went up like 3-1 or something like that. Yeah, so obviously Brock Lesnar took a lead. I mean, Brock Lesnar was cheating quite a lot in this match as well, which is cool. And that always makes sense, really, to have the heel have the advantage. Because obviously, psychology-wise, it makes a ton of sense for the babyface to have something to fight back from. And I think it got something like 5-2 or something like that, with not very long to go. So Kurt Angle was in a position where he had to fight back. Then I think it got to I think Kurt managed to get it back to 5-5, but I think Lesnar went 6-5 up. Then they did the whole, I like to call this the Bret Shawn finish. I mean, I think we've seen it a few times in time limit matches, especially Iron Man matches. So obviously that Bret Shawn Iron Man match was like a minute left. Bret had Shawn in the sharpshooter. Bret was Shawn would not give up, and the time ran out. So they did that again. Angle had Lesnar in the ankle lock. If Kurt Angle could just get Brock to tap out this ankle lock, he'd be able to get the match into overtime and maybe have a chance of winning. But Brock Lesnar held on, and then the time it ran out, and Brock Lesnar won the WWE Championship back. Great feud ender, really was. I mean, Lesnar Angle rivalry 2003, fantastic feud. And this was undoubtedly the best match that they had. Still to this day, one of Brock Lesnar's best ever matches. Probably one of Angle's best ever WWE matches as well. So that's number 2, Lesnar versus Angle. So, coming in at number 1, Smackdown, September 26, 2002. No disqualification match, Edge versus Eddie Guerrero. I was asked on the Q&A what my favourite Smackdown match was. And I told that person I would hold off to here because I'm going to talk about right here. And it's this match, Edge versus Eddie Guerrero. I mean, this match is fantastic. One of the best television matches you'll ever see in WWE. I mean, unbelievable match. So like I said, I've talked about Edge's rise in 2002. So after the Angle feud was done, Edge got into a mini feud with Chris Jericho. Had that tag title run with Hulk Hogan that I talked about last week. Then over the summer got into a rivalry with his new Smackdown recruit Eddie Guerrero. Guerrero, of course, made his WWE comeback in April 2002 after finally cleaning his life up. Obviously, he'd been to drug rehab, he got fired by the WWE, and he'd had a drug problem for a long time. So after he got fired, that was the impetus, that was it. Eddie Guerrero got off the drugs, got himself focused, he got back into the WWE, and he came back better than ever, in my opinion. I mean, I feel like the best run Eddie Guerrero ever had was 2002 up until he died in 2005. I mean, he was just killing it. And I feel like over time in 2002 and 2003, he was starting to find himself as a character as well, to try and get to that next level of being a top guy. So far for me, the Eddie Guerrero matches were kind of slightly disappointing. I mean, they weren't bad matches by any means, they were actually good matches. But I don't think any of them reached great status yet. I mean, obviously, SummerSlam 2002, that was a good match. Unforgiven 2002, they had a better match, but still, that wasn't an awesome match. And then the rivalry was blown off here in a no-holds-barred match on Smackdown. I mean, there's a good chance this episode will be on the Fave 5 episodes list next week. You should hold on and check that out next week. But yeah, and this is the time where I think this match has just clicked, and they just finally clicked and had that classic match that they knew they had inside them, but they hadn't had yet, and it just came out here. I mean, the intensity in this match is off the chart. I mean, and I'm not a big fan of this word as such, but work rate, because I couldn't think of a better word to use. It was just incredible. I mean, they worked the absolute balls off for the fans of this match, they really did. I mean, some of the risks they took were incredible. So we got like a load of weapon shots, ladder shots, and all that. Ugh. There's a really sick spot where, obviously, they've seen it before, but Edge is on the ladder. Guerrero flips over the ladder, then hits Edge with a power bomb. That looked bloody brutal. I think Eddie got cut open in this match as well. There was just some amazing near falls, and just I think the fans, like, you can see the fans just getting more invested in the match that was going on. I mean, the match was great for what it, but then it just got better and better and better, and then obviously got to a peak, and then they took it home. It was a great execution off the ladder, and Edge got the big win over Eddie Guerrero. And what I also remember about this match as well, post-match, Eddie Guerrero, a heel, the loser of the match, got this massive standing ovation from the fans, which I guess that was a sign that the fans had really taken to Eddie, and in a not too distant future, Eddie was going to be a top babyface. Because I think there was just something so likeable about Eddie Guerrero. Even as a heel, it was kind of hard to hate him, because the guy was so entertaining. And when you watch it, he was just so good. I mean, technically, just so solid. He's one of those guys, he knew what he was doing, really, didn't he? When Eddie Guerrero was on, he was one of the best performers in the world. And this was another awesome match for Edge. Fantastic match. But if you haven't seen this match, you absolutely have to seek it out. It is that good. So, that is it for this Fave 5 episodes of Smackdown. So before I go, I'm going to do a quick King of Pro Wrestling predictions. Obviously, King of Pro Wrestling, probably the last of the big 4 New Japan shows of the year. It's taking place Monday morning my time. So, I will probably be watching this show live, and I will review it. So yeah, overall this looks like, I'll say the last 4 matches are going to be good, but admittedly, it's kind of a half-y-half. There's obviously 4 really meaningful matches, and then we got a lot of those random stable multi-man tag matches, but some of them could be good and some of them could lead to other stuff. So let's get into it really. So the first match will be for the junior heavyweight tag team titles. Champions El Desperado and Kanemaru to face the legendary team of Jushin Liger and Tiger Mask. Now this is intriguing for me. I think this could be at least a decent match, if not a good match. Obviously Liger's in his 50s now, and I'm not sure who this Tiger Mask actually is. Obviously it's not the original, and it's not Misawa either, so I don't know if it's the old guy or a young guy or what. Obviously, I can't tell. But obviously, Tiger Mask is a character that's been around for decades. And I'm going to go for the veterans to get the win here. I'm going to go for Jushin Liger and Tiger Mask to become the junior heavyweight tag team champions, because I've got an idea that maybe they'll do the veterans against Roppongi 3K at Wrestle Kingdom, but who knows. Now we've got a few random tag team matches. This is one of them. Juice Robinson and Tohanara against Honma and Toga Makabe, which I think it's kind of strange that Robinson's not teaming with Finlay on this one, because Robinson and Finlay have teamed quite frequently, and you'd think they'll probably team up in the World Tag League this year. But yeah, obviously Makabe and Honma, the veterans, Robinson, former US champion now, which is a shame, because I was really disappointed he lost the US title at Fighting Spirit Unleashed. This should be okay. This is probably one of the worst matches of the show, probably, but it still should be at least decent. I mean, you got to go for the young guys, haven't you? Hanara and Juice Robinson to go over. But fourth, right, this is a multi-man match, but it's quite an interesting one. Obviously, it's Bullet Club War, because we've got the Young Bucks, Hangman Page and Chase Owens facing the Firing Squad, Taiji Ishimori, Guerrillas of Destiny, and Bad Luck Fale. So at least this match seems to have a purpose. It's furthering the Bullet Club, Bullet Club Civil War storyline, the Firing Squad, and then Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, the Elite guys. So I think this should be a very good match. I think obviously, Guerrillas of Destiny just won the tag team titles, so this match is going to further the Young Bucks versus Guerrillas of Destiny feud. I'm picking Young Bucks to win the World Tag League this year. Just put it out there. But I think obviously you've got the Firing Squad, you've got to keep them going. So I think the Firing Squad team will go over here. Then we've got a 6-man tag match. We've got Chaos members Will Ospreay, Hiroki Goto, and Tomohiro Ishii defacing Suzuki Gun, Minoru Suzuki, Taishi, and Iizuka. I mean, really, is he really in this match? But yeah, this match, I'm not really interested in this match, to be honest. I mean, the Chaos team's great, granted, but the Suzuki Gun team, I mean, obviously Suzuki is awesome, but still not a fan of Taishi, and I think Iizuka's awful. Yeah. Obviously, I think this is going to build up 2 matches. Hiroki Goto will probably get a rematch with Taishi for the Never Openweight title soon. And this obviously is going to build Ishii versus Suzuki at Global Wars and Rev Pro for the British Heavyweight title, because that match is already announced, it's happening. Can't remember the exact date, but it's definitely coming up soon. So for this one, I'll go for the Chaos team to go over. Now this could be quite an intriguing match. We've got an 8-man tag. We've got Chaos, Okada, Roppongi 3K, and Toriano against LIJ with Naito, Sanada, Bushi, and X. So X is a mystery wrestler. We're going to have a new LIJ member to replace Hiroma Takahashi. So kind of funny about that. So when it happened the day of, I thought, a lot of people thought this might be Neville making his, or Pac, as he's now known again, make his New Japan debut to be a member of LIJ. But that same day, Pac showed up in Dragon Gate, so it's not going to be him. So to answer the question, who's going to be X? I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't want to give you a boring answer, but I don't know. Probably a young lion could make his return, or I don't know, someone from CMML or whatever. But it's going to be, I'm interested to see who it is, put it that way. Or maybe New Japan's signed someone significant we don't know about. But we'll see. Could be interesting. I mean, I'll probably go obviously with the new member, and obviously I've got to with LIJ to go over here. It would be, I think that's what it'll be. So now we've got 4 singles matches, and this is really the stuff I'm interested in the most. So interesting match, a singles match, Evil versus Zack Sabre Jr. This should be a good match. Don't think it'll be a fantastic match, but it should be a good match nonetheless. Interested to see how it'll play out. So I'll go for Evil to go over this one, because I think Chris Jericho will show up here at King of Pro Wrestling, either live or on video. I think Chris Jericho will be a part of this show in some capacity, because I think from what I gather it's probably going to be Chris Jericho and Evil, a power struggle for the Intercontinental title, and they're probably going to do Jericho and Naito at the Dome. So that's why I think Evil will go over. Then either he'll challenge Chris Jericho or Chris Jericho will challenge him. And we'll get Evil versus Jericho for Power Struggle. Now, for the vacant IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, Kushida versus Marty Scurll. This could be the show stealer for me. This is probably the match I want to see the most on this card. Obviously, they had a mini tournament with Takahashi being out. Kushida beat Bushi, and then Scurll beat Ospreay. Now we get in the final. This should be an awesome match. I mean, they had a great match at their Best of Super Juniors, and from what I've heard, they had great matches for the Ring of Honor television title in 2017, but I have not seen them. So this should be an awesome match, especially if they get like 20-25 minutes to work with. And obviously Kushida, one of the best junior heavyweights of all time. Marty Scurll, great wrestler in my opinion. I mean, really excited to see what he can do in the future. I mean, in the next couple of years, he's probably going to be awesome. As far as prediction, this is a hard one to predict because you could see it going either way. But I'll go with Kushida to go over, so then give the junior heavyweight title back to him, because I think ultimately Taiji Ishimori will probably challenge whoever it is at Wrestle Kingdom. So I'll go with that. I'll go with Kushida. So I think Kushida versus Ishimori could be an interesting match. So I'll go with Kushida. Now, the semi-main event is for the Tokyo Dome title shot, Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Switchblade Jay White. I mean, so obviously Tanahashi successfully defended the briefcase against Okada, and now he's going to defend against Jay White. This will probably be his last defense of the briefcase. Obviously it comes about Jay White beat Tanahashi in the G1, so he gets this shot, and this should be a really good match. I mean, they had a really good match at Wrestle Kingdom this year. I thought they had an excellent match actually in the G1. A lot of people didn't like that match as much as me, but I really enjoyed that match. I think they showed great chemistry. But obviously Jay White's improving every time. New Japan obviously have big plans for this guy. They really do. You can just tell. But it's not going to be his time. Tanahashi will go over, because ultimately I feel like it's going to be definitely Okada versus Jay White at the Tokyo Dome. That match doesn't need the IWGP title, and just if Tanahashi doesn't get the title shot, then what was really the point of him winning the G1? You know what I mean? If they want to have Jay White in the Wrestle Kingdom main event, they might as well just had him win the G1s, you know. So Tanahashi to go over, and then the main event for the IWGP Heavyweight title, triple threat match, Kenny Omega versus Kota Ibushi versus Cody. So a lot of people thought this was going to be Omega versus Ibushi, including me. But a fighting spirit evolved, the triple threat match was made, and I kind of like that in a sense, because obviously triple threats are very, very rare in New Japan. I believe this is the only third time in the entire history the IWGP titles being defended in a triple threat. Apparently there was one in the Ring of Honor show in 2014, Okada, Styles and someone else, can't remember who. Then the other one was like way back in 2005. When Brock Lesnar won the IWGP title. I believe one of those guys in that match was Nakamura, and I can't remember who the third one was. So this is interesting, and of course, but the only thing, obviously, would it have really made sense to have Omega and Ibushi have the match of like, what, 9 days announced ahead of time, you know? I think if, obviously, if Omega and Ibushi happens, it's going to be announced at least a month ahead of time to give fans time to get into it. So, at least Cody will make a decent middleman. Don't think the match is going to be a classic or anything like that, but it should be a great title match. I think should be a really good match. But obviously Omega's going over, isn't he? I mean, it'd be pretty stupid to have Omega lose the title now. You think he's at least going to walk into Wrestle Kingdom as champion. So, I mean, obviously it would be nice if Ibushi won. I won't deny that. Obviously, I don't think Cody's going to win it, but I think ultimately Omega's going to win, and then obviously Omega Tanahashi is going to be the Wrestle Kingdom main event. So, with that out the way, just going to do a couple more things. Obviously, I have a review coming of King of Pro Wrestling 2013 on the way. That might even be out today. If not today, it'll definitely tomorrow. Might do a couple of Halloween Havoc reviews in the month of October. I'm definitely going to do 1994, the Hogan Flair cage match, so keep a lookout for those guys. And until next time, peace.